Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Gutfeld, along with Kimberly Guilfoyle, Bob Beckel, Eric Bowling, and G. Ponder, Easy Bake Oven for meth. It's Dana Perino. It's 5 o'clock in New York City. This is The Five. Exploring the Brotherly Bond. That was the title of another CNN segment on the bombers, rife with more cheesy photos of the dead one. Seriously, what is with CNN's obsession with beefcake bombers? Does Ted Turner have a fetish for men in Everlast trunks? Exploring the brotherly bonds of terrorists is like exploring the health benefits of cyanide or the calming effects of nerve gas. Do you think they'd ever explore the mother-son bond of the Lanzas? Heck no. With gun violence, the media predetermines that guns are evil. But when terror strikes, the media humanizes the heathens, giving their defense lawyers a head start. And a top defense lawyer is already there, showing that it's way cooler to defend evil than to prosecute it. CNN also hawked a film called The Reluctant Fundamentalist, about a man who changed after 9/11. Not from the attack, but from being profiled. The implication is that profiling for potential terror is somehow no better than terror itself. FYI, there's no such thing as a reluctant fundamentalist. It's as rare as a reluctant moon landing. This contradiction in terms veils truth with phony relativism, and its message, profiling encourages terror, is deadly, for it seeks to blunt your desire to deduce danger. So rather than prevent attacks from Muslim supremacists, just place America's suffering in the context of global ills. When you grieve over Boston, a crank on MSNBC can say, now you know how Somalia feels. Now you get why so many hacks refuse to call the bomber an enemy combatant. If you just got to know him a little better, you know he'd be a blast. Dana, welcome back to the program. We missed you, I guess. Supposed to say that. Anyway, why is it? What is with the constant psychoanalysis of bad people? Does it help?
Well, it doesn't help us prevent, well, for some people, like psychologists, or if you're an FBI profiler,
yes,
or if you're in the CIA and you're trying to figure out what kind of person would do this to innocent people, psychoanalysis could help. But we have spent so much time worrying about the why that we are not focused on the more important questions, which are the who else, the when, and the how, to prevent it from happening again. And throughout this coverage, it somehow is insinuated that it's our fault.
Yeah.
That somehow we didn't help them assimilate best into American society, that what could we have done differently to prevent them from becoming radicalized. I think actually there's no way to explain evil than to just call it what it is and then deal with it appropriately.
Yeah, that's what I do with you. E.B.
Yes.
I get the feeling that the media, when they're doing this stuff, is somehow subconsciously mapping out the defense.
Well,
like this is how the defense is going to portray.
They're mapping out the Alex Jones conspiracy theory really early. 60 Minutes last week, within a few days of the bombing, had friends of Johar Tsarnaev saying, "Oh, he was a great guy. Never went to mosque. If you knew him, you would love him." They had a girl saying, "I had a crush on him." I mean, they really started that ball running. CNN, again, late to the game by about a week. But again, what's with the sympathy for the bad guys? Dana's 100% right. Before we start venturing into that, let's find out what he knows, who he knows, who else he did it with, where the money came from. There's so many questions. And this constant playing of the mom's rant.
Yeah.
Oh, America, how could you do this to me? Enough of that already. America didn't do anything to you or the Tsarnaev family.
We need more uncle, less mama.
Yeah, by the way, you want to see what happened to the mom? Let's do a before and after picture before she became radicalized. See, she actually looked like she might have been fun. She looks like she used to be in Quarter Flash or the backup of Joan Jett's band. But now, I mean, this is what happens when you get radicalized, Bob. You would have dated either one. I want to talk about... I want to talk about Congressman Keith Ellison. He was on Meet the Press with Peter King yesterday, and they were talking about profiling and things like that, and I believe he made a comparison to the Japanese internment camps.
This Ryzen attack, for example, that's an act of terrorism that doesn't come out of the Muslim community. We don't have enough law enforcement resources to just go after one community. And remember, we went after a community in World War II. And the Japanese internment is a national stain on our country, and we are still apologizing for it.
Bob, does that comparison hold or help?
No, I don't think it holds or it helps. The entirely different situation, and it's an entirely different war. The Japanese war was defined for us. We understood who had attacked us, and it was very clear. We knew the reasons for it. My problem with that is that if it wasn't for the fact that every terrorist act that has been committed against the United States, either here or abroad, going back to the SS Cole and doing some other, have been done by Muslims. I've been accused of profiling, as you know from what I said about student visas. It is not profiling when you have a group of people constantly being the source of these attacks. Where are you going to look first? Seems to me that's not profiling. That's much more using the evidence that you have before you and saying this is where we need to go first. We're not going to go to Lithuanians.
Yeah. Although, who knows? KG, I want to play Attorney General Eric Holder. He was at an Anti-Defamation League Centennial Summit. This is what he had to say about the attacks.
Our investigation into this matter remains ongoing, and I want to assure you and all Americans that my colleagues and I are determined to hold accountable, to the fullest extent of the law, all of those who were responsible for this attack. But I also want to make clear that just as we will pursue relentlessly anyone who would target our people or attempt to terrorize our cities, the Justice Department is firmly committed to protecting innocent people against misguided acts of retaliation.
Dana just said that he cuts a nice figure. I got to ask you, KG, the relativism there. He says we're going to go after these guys, but the next thing is I'm going to block against any kind of backlash. How much backlash is there, really?
Well, listen, I think he's completely misguided. I've thought it from the first day he was in office, and I think his acts, his decisions, his ideology has taken over the Justice Department, and I don't think he cuts that fine a figure. I saw him this weekend, and although the only nice thing I can say about Eric Holder is he agreed to pose for a picture with Eric Bowling.
Yeah.
I said something positive.
I haven't been beaten up by Twitter followers that much about anything I've ever done. Here's what he said. I took a picture. I said, Attorney General, can I take a quick picture of you? He's like, are you sure you want? I go, yeah, whatever. I want to post it on Facebook, Twitter. And he goes, you're going to lose a lot of followers. And guess what? I think I lost a lot of followers.
You know,
but he did take the picture with you.
But he did take the picture.
I have no problem with his message about going after people and putting people in situations where they're arrested or investigated and they had nothing to do with it. But let's go back to the Japan thing for a second. Japan was a country, an imperialist country. We're talking about a religion here. It's a much different situation. The Japanese were not fighting over the supremacy of religion as the fundamentalist Islamists are. And that, I think, is a much different situation. And the Japanese did not have, for example, mosques or whatever they kind of religion they in the United States perpetuating this stuff.
Can we just, I'm sorry to jump back, though, but let's stay on hold for a minute. We are committed to relentlessly pursue those who did it. Well, then don't read them their Miranda rights within 48 hours.
Right.
Number two, then he goes on to apologize, saying, let's be careful for any sort of backlash that may happen if we continue to interrogate these guys. But most importantly, you want to relentlessly pursue who did this? How about you relentlessly pursue who did Benghazi? I haven't heard a word of Benghazi in 3 months. Yeah, that would be a nice place to continue relentlessly pursuing.
But also we lost opportunities here, and the piece by John Yoo that we sent around that had responsible with so much of the stuff that went on in the Bush administration successfully against the war on terror said this was a real loss, an opportunity here for us to make advancements in our national security. But the way that this individual was treated, and by the way, by a magistrate, not even a federally put in judge. This is so unusual the way this happened that they brought that guy into this guy's hospital room, a magistrate, not elected, not somebody who can get that position. I can get that position tomorrow, okay? And goes in and gives them the Miranda rights. They should have stepped in and said, no, this isn't how it's going to be done. And a real opportunity was there to lose to find out who helped radicalize them, where'd they get the money, who's behind it, because I don't believe it was just the two of them, and they even have the Russians have the tape with the mom talking to the son about jihad.
Speaking of the radicalization, I want to read Dana a quote, so try to follow along.
Gotcha.
This is from an ex-girlfriend. Do we have it here? This is the ex-girlfriend saying about when she was dating the dead guy. 1 minute, he's this funny, normal guy who liked boxing and having fun. The next, he is praying 4 times a day, watching Islamic videos, and talking insane nonsense. That was from Nadine Asensio.
He's what gave you the first clue that he might, try to kill innocent people.
Yes.
You know what he didn't have? And he was taken in at some point, but not charged with domestic violence.
Right.
What we needed from him is a mugshot.
Yeah.
Remember Khalid Sheikh Mohammed from the 9/11 bombings? There was a mug shot of him where he looked a mess.
Yeah.
And he looked evil and he looked bad. There's also the sweet little one of him. I hate when the media shows that picture of him as a sweet little imam. The mugshot picture actually helps drive coverage. And he should have had one given his history. On Holder, can I make one point?
Yeah.
Mark Thiessen of the Washington Post, also of American Enterprise Institute, wrote a column today talking about how, remember after the Christmas bomber, and they got a lot of criticism in the Obama administration for having read him his Miranda rights. A week later, on Sunday shows, Eric Holder says, we are going to go forward and try to do some reform for Miranda rights. Congress held 3 or 4 hearings, and the effort just sputtered out. Congress needs to follow through and take him up on his offer for Miranda reform, because maybe we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now if they'd done that.
You know, the other thing, I think Holder, when he talks about relentlessly pursuing things, he ought to relentlessly pursue why the FBI blew this. I mean, it seems to me that if you're going to be in this battle, you might as well be in it with the best forces you have and the best agencies you have, and find out if they've got a problem, why they did. I mean, why does it take the Russians 2 times to tell us this?
Sad.
And that seems to me to be one area I would pursue very aggressively.
In their defense, I can understand where at the FBI you're just besieged when you think that the Russians over-exaggerate and overreact when it comes to Chechens. And so you maybe discount it. We don't have limitless numbers of people. We can't be profiling everybody.
How often
so
do we
I'm
get
trying
stuff?
to be understanding.
How often do we get stuff from Russia?
And let it go. Right.
Yeah, so.
I think a lot. I think they get a lot from the Russians.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
A lot of cooperation there.
Didn't know that, Dana.
Yes,
Thanks
believe
for
it.
that.